What has camp kind of been like? And you guys did so much from January until camp. How different is it, and what's it been like the first couple weeks?
I think it's been good, especially just because you have your entire team. I think with the spring portal window and how that works nowadays, you don't have your full team in spring. So seeing what the entire offense and defense looks like together in its kind of final full form before we go into the season has been cool. I think we've grown a lot as a team, especially offensively. So obviously a lot more work to do, but I'm really excited about where we're at.
You guys have 2 scrimmages under your belts now in camp. Your thoughts on how the offense has performed after those 2?
I thought the first scrimmage we did a really good job. Just kind of doing our job, not doing too much, letting it come to us. I think, defense probably had a better day today. Obviously, you got to go back and watch the film, but I think that's what you see with good teams, right? Some days the offense is gonna have the upper hand, and sometimes the defense is gonna have the upper hand. And I think that's a really healthy, competitive environment to have within fall camp.
Miller, having been on campus since January, how would you describe your comfort level with the playbook at this point in time?
I think it's just been cool to see how it's evolved. Obviously coming in spring, or really coming in the winter, and seeing that huge book for the first time was a little daunting. But I think it's been cool to kind of see how that's evolved and see how my mastery of that has grown. I feel really comfortable right now. I'm excited to kind of continue to take steps in that direction.
Do you feel like at this point in time you built a pretty strong rapport with your receivers, and what does that look like over the course of the offseason?
Yeah, definitely. I think I give them a ton of credit in terms of what they were willing to invest throughout the course of the offseason. We're lifting pretty much every day over the course of the summer, and they were willing to come in, after every lift and watch film together, come in on their off days and run routes. After they're squatting heavy on Friday and stuff, they're still coming in on Saturdays and run routes and stuff. So they've made a ton of investment on their end, and obviously, with adding a couple pieces in the spring, I think that was really necessary. So I give them a ton of credit in terms of what they were willing to put forward. I'm just really excited about that group.
There seems to be a lot of talent among those receivers. How comfortable or how confident does it make you to know that you have so many weapons like that?
Very confident. Obviously that group is led by 2 veterans in Chris Bell and Colin Lacey, and then there's some younger guys that have really made plays and gotten a lot better, at least throughout the time that I've been here. So that's been cool to see. I think just offensively, I think you can say that for the receiver room, but you can really say that for all our skill rooms offensively, obviously our running backs and tight ends as well. So, I think the key when you have a lot of talented players in the room is to remain unselfish throughout the course of the year, and so we got to make a concerted effort to do that, but I'm confident that we will.
Speaking of that receiver room, who do you think has made the most progress since spring ball up until now?
It's a good question. I really think TJ McWilliams has come a really long way. He was a guy who came in from Minnesota, didn't necessarily know the playbook at first, but has really come a long way, has really invested, and it's been cool to see how that investment has paid off for him. He's a really reliable receiver, can play inside and outside, and yeah, it's just been cool to see how his game's evolved throughout the course of my time here.
Speaking of the playbook, not to give too much away, but what's been the most surprising thing about just kind of going through it and seeing all the different plays?
Yeah, I think just how multiple it is. I think it's rare, especially at the college level, for teams to carry that much and be able to be that multiple and attack teams in such different ways. So usually a team goes in one specific direction, but I think Coach Brom's really unique and he has the ability to do a lot of different things.
You haven't gotten word that that's just the preseason book, that there's like another really big book coming soon?
No, but if there is, I'm excited.
How much does those backs help what you do? Take a little pressure off of what you have to do.
No, a tremendous amount. I think whenever you can run the ball well, and I know that obviously we can. Those guys are super, super talented. But whenever you can run the ball well, obviously defenses are forced to respect that, and I think it helps the play action game, the drop back game, it just helps the offense in general. So I think we're really lucky, like I said, to have elite playmakers in all the position groups.
Miller, do you have any personal expectations for yourself or goals that you've set for yourself this season as you go into this thing, and what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I think when you look at the college football season as an entirety, I think it's a little bit premature to set overall goals. I think my biggest goal is to take it week by week, fully and 100%, commit to that week and that opponent. I think if I'm able to do that, then the broader goals will take care of themselves.
Through the 2 scrimmages, I'm curious how the offensive line worked for you. Obviously, if you guys did better in the first scrimmage, probably did well, but overall, how have they been performing for you?
They've been doing well. I think there are a lot of guys that have moved around through our camp. I think Coach Owens wants those guys to learn a lot of different positions. I think they've done a good job. Obviously there's a lot expected of them. When you talk about a big playbook, that falls on them as well. So in more ways than you might expect. So I'm really proud of those guys and how they've handled some changes up there, moving around. But I think we're starting to get that group solidified and full confidence.
A lot's been said about how deep you guys are at receiver and running back, but what about that tight end room? What have you seen out of that position group since you've gotten on campus?
Yeah, it's kind of flown under the radar, but I think we have some really good playmakers in there. I think, Nate's kind of the veteran, very reliable hands, always in the right spot, really tough, good, solid player and person. I think Jaleel, has some unique ability in terms of the athlete that he is. He's obviously 6'6", can stretch the field, can really run, and his handle on the playbook has really come a long way, so I'm proud of him. And then we brought in Jacob Stewart in the offseason from San Jose State, and he's been a really good, reliable option. So I think I'm excited about that room, and sometimes it's not a bad thing to fly under the radar. So,
You got some guys behind you. Deuce, Brady. What do you kind of see from those younger quarterbacks? How much you kind of try to pour into them, knowing that they're going to be the future?
Yeah, definitely. They've done a great job this camp. I think Deuce has a really good arm. Really special athlete. Makes some really great plays. I think Brady has tremendous knowledge of the playbook, having been in it for a while. And then I think Mason's come a really long way as well. I think kind of seeing his growth. I remember early enrolling and having that jump from my first spring to my first fall camp, and it's slowing down a little bit for you, and you're seeing it a little bit better. And I think that's always really cool to see kind of happen in real time. And shoot, even today he might have the highest grade in the quarterback room coming from this scrimmage. So I'm really proud of him and the work that he's done, the progress that he's made, and he's only going to continue to get better.
Having been in a summer spot, what is the advice or the wisdom you kind of try to impart to him?
Just treat practice like a game. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not going to have the opportunity to necessarily play every single Saturday, I think you have to kind of get in that competitive mode as much as you possibly can. And I think for me, treating those Wednesday and Tuesday practices throughout the week as game-like is really important and helpful for me. And obviously the same